Hello and welcome to Centurion's Corner, and today we are reviewing from Star Wars The Black Series and Star Wars The Mandalorian. Nope, oh hang on, it's the Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian, the Glavis RingWorld. Now, this is a whole brand new sculpt of Din Djarin out there, and it's looking pretty cool. I think there is another one a little bit later down the line, which is exactly the same as this figure, but comes with less accessories. So I think this one will be the one to pick up. But looking at the front of the box here, we actually can see he's got his little jetpack at the top here. We've got the dark saber. We have a little vibro knife down here, and we have his pistol as well. On the sides, it's all kind of green that trends through that Boba Fett look on the side. Here we have Din Djarin with the dark saber. On the back, we've got that picture once again, and he's number 8 in the series with a little bio at the top here. And then going around to the side, it's exactly the same. So I guess without further ado, let's crack this bad boy open. So here he's out of his box and looking pretty cool here. It looks really nice and shiny. That silver they used on there really pops in this light. It looks great. So we just get him out for our first impressions and just popping it right out like this. Now we have done quite a few upgrades on the older Din Djarin, so I will be doing a bit of a comparison alongside that one there and see what we can add to this guy. But yeah, he's looking really cool. Really like the bulkiness of that armour as well at the top there. Looking great. So just going to go away, take some pictures, put him through his poses, and we'll see you in a mo. So welcome back. We've been away, we've taken his pictures, and what can I say about this figure? Well, yes, it is a vast improvement over the Mandalorian we had before. That is 100%. Although I feel like Hasbro could have done even better to make it even a better figure than what we got. I mean, a lot of people out there, they're loving it. So if you feel like you disagree with me, let me know in those comments down below, and I'll go over those nitpicks as we go through the video. That is for sure. But I just feel like if you're going to do it all, then just do it, Hasbro. Just don't give us sort of like, oh look, a new sculpt, and then not do much. Yeah, so what we do the normal kind of accessories, the sculpt, the articulation, and then at the end of the video I bring in the other Mandalorians and we do some looks at the older gun sculpt and the backpack and the dark saber as well. So yeah, looking at this, it comes with 4 accessories, which is cool. He's got the dark saber, we've got his pistol, we've got his jetpack on the back, and then we've got his little vibro knife down the bottom here. So they're taking a look. We can take a first look at his little pistol, looking really nice here. Look at those details on those. Not really, it's not much detail there at all. It's really flat and not much going on up here. He has got a little wooden grip down this side. The other side has got a lot more sort of details going for it, a few extra circles and other parts, and you can see it fits in his sort of like trigger hand. Okay, I feel like the hand is a little bit too large for the gun, and you have to kind of sort of like clip that kind of trigger part underneath his thumb. But his holster's a lot better. You can actually just slide that straight in. No clip over system or anything. It just slides straight into there with a satisfying kind of click. So yeah, that is pretty cool. We'll take that out and we'll do a little comparison a little bit later on that one. His vibro knife, it just fits down here, and you can see by the size of the actual hilt of the knife as well, it's not going to fit in his hand very nicely. And then you've got this little bit down here. So it's kind of like a removable aesthetic, in my opinion. Got a couple of little bit of details on there, but not much really going for it. So that can go down back into his boot. On the back, we've got his jetpack. Again, a really nice looking sort of metal that they've used on this. A really nice sort of like shiny paint, and I love it. It's really cool. It fits in his back really nicely as well, so it's not like the old one. You can shake it around and it's part of the figure. It's not going to fall out at any given time, and that fits into the back with 3 little plugs, just like so, that going in there. So yeah, they can all clip in. Really cool. And that's not going to go anywhere for sure. So you don't need to glue this one in, which is good. His dark saber, which is here, it's done in this sort of like a, not a transparent, but it's got like the black part in the middle, and then we've got the white around on the outside, and the hilt as well is done in a gun grey just on there. No extra paintwork at all on the hilt. It's slightly different. We've actually got a hook on the end here, and the blade is removable, so you can take it out on the peg system and then pop it back in. And if you do get it wrong, you will notice as well, like when you put it in, the blade will be a little bit bent and stuff like that. So you just got to make sure that the cuts are down that way, and that fits in like so. So again, his hands are slightly a little bit large. It fits in his right hand a lot better than it does in his left. You can kind of wedge that kind of part down like so. It does actually fit better if you rotate the lightsaber around, but unfortunately then it is backwards. But yeah, it's got a nicer, firmer grip when it's like that, and it sort of slides in the middle. On his left hand, yeah, it just doesn't fit in very well. If it was a trigger hand, we could have done that and it would have fit in pretty cool, but it don't. And this kind of hand on here looks like a trigger finger, but it's not. It's all molded in place. On the back of the belt, we've actually got a nice little clip that holds on the lightsaber, so you can put that through the hole and that will hold on to place, but it's not secure. It's not. It's just going to fall off. If the character falls down off your shelf, that's going to be disappearing. So I would never actually hold that on the back there unless it's just for a photo purpose, in my opinion. But yeah, that is all his accessories, and with that we can go through his articulation. So head-wise, he can turn left, he can turn right, he can look down and up. He's got lower neck movement and upper neck movement as well. On the inside, you can see there's a chin, but there's no extra head in there, unfortunately. It's just like a bit like a mannequin type head on the inside there. We've got full rotation around on his upper arm, but it does get hindered by his big, large shoulder pads. But his arms come up to this far as well, and then we've got a nice butterfly joint in there, and it goes right back as well and all the way forward, which is cool. We've got rotation here at the elbow, it comes up this far, 90-degree bend here. We've got rotation at the gauntlet, we've got rotation at the wrist as well, and his hand that is on the little peg system, and it's got a little whatever you call that part. Leftwise, and his wrist has a hinge. And then his wrist has a hinge as well. On the diaphragm, we can turn left. Well, not great. He's got quite a few extra kind of extra accessories and bits there. So left, he can go that way. Right, he can go that way. We've got a little bit of movement there. Crunch, not so, but more backwards. Leg-wise, comes up this way, forward, back, upper thigh rotation here. We've got lower knee movement as well, which is on a 90-degree angle there. And then we've got the rocker and a pivot at the ankle, which is pretty cool. So most of the newer parts are all up here. But taking a look at the figure, it's a vast improvement over the other. The sculpt of the helmet looks great. The silvering as well and all those parts. Got a whole new bandolier as well, which are all the extra pockets and the sort of silver parts on those as well. And we've got these blue flaps that are hanging down on the outer side. And then we've got the sort of holster as well, which is sculpted onto those other sort of side pads as well. Coming around to the back, this is all one piece as well. So this area here is connected, and that is all connected to this sort of under part as well, underneath his armor. So yeah, this is one of my sort of nitpicks. I kind of wish that this was more sculpted in, or it was a different sculpt on the inside, so we would actually get a little bit more kind of movement here on this sort of diaphragm part. Looking at the rest of the sculpt, nice silver pauldrons on the top here, even though I do feel like they may be a little bit too large. Coming down to his gauntlets as well, we'll go for it so we can do the comparison, but I feel like these are a little bit too thin. I feel like they're too clamped at the wrist. It actually looks like they're part of a sleeve rather than armour over the top of the sleeve, especially coming down to the wrists there, because his hands are slightly a little bit larger than most sort of Black Series figures, to be honest with you. Coming down to the rest of the actual figure, we've got the silvers all on here, so he's got all his Beskar armour. And on these boots as well, we've got a little bit of silver in and the browns on there. A little bit too kind of normal brown on this side, but we have got the blue kneecap on this side as well. On the back, we've got this sort of nice cape. At least we've got a soft goods cape with all the extra holes and stuff at the bottom there. However, maybe it's a little bit too thin. Maybe it's the wrong colour. Maybe it should be like a dark grey. But I'm kind of glad we just got soft goods, in my opinion. The cape feels very thin, a bit similar to like what Luke Skywalker came with Return of the Jedi kind of cape, or like the Jedi robes. It's that kind of material, so it's not really weighty on there, but at least you can twist it to one side when you want to put the jetpack on, and that is kind of attached and stuff underneath his sort of area down here. So we've got a nice kind of crisscross, giving off that kind of scarf look around on his neck. So yeah, a really nice looking figure, really good extra details, and Hasbro have definitely gone that extra mile to bring us this guy. Although I do feel like, before we go into the comparison sides, I do feel he's a little bit too large at the top of the actual figure. I feel like these parts up here, especially, like they're just too rounded and they're just too much off the figure. And I feel like his gut area as well, I just feel like the armor is way too big. If they kind of crunched, maybe if they did all make this one piece, maybe glue that on there and then do the ab crunch on the inside, so that's kind of like separated on there, so we could actually really crunch down the figure and back and forth, but then it would get rid of that sort of armor effect on there. But yeah, so bringing in the, well, let's take him down. We go through the different accessories. So left hand side will always be this new one, so this is the new gun on this, and then this is the older one, so it's all done in a sort of like a bright metallic kind of color, and detailings are very similar on both sort of sides, but this one here is kind of plain compared to this side on that one. This one's got that kind of circle on both sides. It kind of inverts on this one, and this one kind of pokes out. Why they went ahead to do a whole new sculpt, I mean, to me it kind of looks okay already. You can see across the top that it looks different as well, so maybe the guns did change slightly that I never knew about. And the guns really, they're about the same size as well. There's not much in sort of size comparison, maybe just a tiny bit. You can see it's slightly a little bit larger on the newer one. With the backpacks, we got this one. This is the newer one, this is the older one. I have gone off and repainted this one. As you know, we've done upgrades on the channel many times, so that is the original color underneath that horrible sort of like grey unmetallic color. So I went off and done a bit of shiny on there, but you can see it's a lot larger. It's a lot of a larger kind of like backpack, and I think it might be based on another figure before they went off and started doing these ones. You can tell as well by the nozzles at the bottom, so this one's got larger sort of like boosters compared to this one, and especially like the way this one was put together, you can see all those sort of like lines and clips together, when this one feels a little bit more natural. The clips on the back as well, a lot smaller, so this one actually fitted into that extra peg hole that he used to have his gun in there, compared to this one, so it just plugs in on the back there. So yeah, definitely a vast improvement, especially with that extra kind of silver metallic paint they have on there. And then the other one as well is the dark saber. A bit strange that they've done this, really. I just kind of thought we only had this one once with Moff Gideon, but yeah, they've sort of brought it back out with a better blade, definitely a lot thicker. It's weird that they didn't put like white swirls for it like the dark saber does have. This one, I think, kind of got chipped. I actually landed up in my Hoover at one time, so yeah, the hilts are slightly different as well, but this one I have painted up, giving it a bit of a gunmetal and a bit of silver on there as well. But you can see this one's a lot larger, and it has the little clip at the end to attach to the belt. So yeah, I mean, is it necessary? No, but I'm kind of glad that they did. But my main sort of like nitpick really is about the main figure. It's about this large area that I just feel like they could have improved a lot more, and especially on the colours as well. So yeah, looking over this one, I actually put a sock on the back here. This was an old sock that I've turned into a cape. But it's just like the material that, or the kind of colouring of the plastic they used on here looks a bit like an old Coca-Cola sweet or something like that, rather than making it look like brown leather. And I know they can do it because they've done it many a times, so I probably will be painting this one up a bit similar on colours on this one. But I just feel like they could have done some extra silvers around on the top here. They've done it in certain areas, but not fully all the way around on the actual belts and stuff as well. So it's kind of missing some clips and other bits around on the back, especially when it comes up to the back part around there. On the side here, they could have put some extra red that we've done on here, because there's these little grenades and stuff on there, so it would have been nice as well. And I just feel like the gauntlets as well, they just feel a little bit too tin foily. It looks like someone sculpted it and then they sat on it by mistake. It just feels too thin compared to this one. It's a lot thicker on the older one, and I feel like the sculpt work on the older one looks a lot better as well. I just feel like the mold has kind of gone a bit disjointed, and especially more on his like left hand side kind of gauntlet. It looks a lot better on the original than it does on the new one, in my opinion. It just doesn't look great. The detailing and stuff on there isn't there, unfortunately. So I just feel like they could have just stuck with these ones and just added them on there. I would have been happy with that. I didn't feel like this one was necessarily a super bad figure, just kind of missing the sort of like butterfly joints and stuff at the top there. And I feel like the ab crunch area is a lot better on this one as well. This bit's all sculpted into the actual figure, and the torso area of the armor is a lot smaller compared to this. I don't remember him being this large in the series at all. I prefer like the armor parts here. It's a lot thinner and it doesn't drop all the way down. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this one is how it's supposed to look, but yeah, I just feel like with that it kind of takes a lot away from the actual articulation of the figure. So I just feel like, what's the point in improving it if you're not going to give it to us? You know, it's just hindering the figure completely. Coming down to the boots as well, obviously we've done a bit of blue on this one here, so to make this one a little bit better, maybe a little bit more silvering on that one down there. And the boots of this one, it had different kind of colours, and this one just kind of blends in with all that brown. So the detailing is there, but it just needs that kind of extra browning and stuff on there for that leather look. And around on this side, slightly different and a lot larger on the boot as well. So, yeah, all in all, it is definitely a good improved figure. But I always find that when they improve a figure and then they put all this unnecessary sort of like extra parts over it, it's kind of like, well, you're just taking it away. You're like, why are you doing that, Hasbro? Like, make it work. Go back to the drawing board if you don't. But yeah, these are all my Mandalorian figures. I never went off and got any of the extra kind of repaints or anything. I just sort of settled for the main ones. But I will be doing a update for this figure, especially like giving him some red, doing some more silvers, and probably changing all the sort of like leather parts on the actual figure as well, making them a little bit nicer. But yeah, that is it. Thank you for joining me in this one. Oh, actually, before I go, I forgot to bring in this blaster as well. With the peg of the original one as well, it does fit on the back. So if you've got one of these blasters, it does fit just like so in that back socket there. So he's not going to miss out like that, which is pretty cool. So, I mean, I recommend this one. Don't get the next one that's coming down further down the line, which is the Mandalorian one, because he only comes with, I think, just his pistol. I don't even think it comes with a jetpack. I think it comes with a plastic cape as well, and it's exactly the same figure, and it's the same price as well. So make sure you pick up this Book of Boba Fett one. That is for sure. So don't forget, you can comment down below, you can subscribe, you can ding the bell, you can follow the channel, or you can join the channel for 99p or 99 cents. And until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye!